All right, music fans, truth seekers, theologians. I don't know. This is going to be a little bit theological in this particular episode, and I've timed it just for that purpose here. Sunday morning theology with Dave and my new favorite pastor, and doing what I do in real time for a few real people just like you and just like me. Yeah, I don't go to this guy's church. I'm on the West Coast. He's on the East Coast. I'm talking about Florida. If I lived on the East Coast, I would be at this church every time the door was open. I would be there. I'd even mop the floor or vacuum or whatever they want me to do. Couple of books I want to show off first. All right, this is a book called Carnage and Grace, a recent book by this pastor. And then there's this older book, which is also very mind blowing, but not quite as raw as that first book. This is called Jesus Plus Nothing Equals Everything. All right. And Tullian Tchividjian is the guy I'm talking about. And, if you're in the Christian world, you probably know that Tullian had an issue about 10 years ago. He had an affair. He lost his church. And so therefore now, you're not supposed to talk about and think about guys who fall from grace. All right. And even that expression is probably inappropriate. You don't fall from grace because grace is always present. So Tullian, this is the kind of guy he is. He's kind of a punk rock guy. He does not look like your typical pastor. I'm going to say that. I'm going to put links in the description where you can watch Tullian preaching. He's got a YouTube channel, the church that he pastors, which is called The Sanctuary. I even love the name of the church. All right, so this is what he said about Ozzy Osbourne. He says, over the course of my life, I've only cried twice when a celebrity died. Once when Philip Seymour Hoffman passed, and now with Ozzy. He says, I loved Ozzy, and to all the religious wingnuts smugly and gleefully announcing that he's in hell, go home and shut up. It's going to get a little feisty here. Seriously, if you were standing in front of me, I'd kick your ass. By the way, one of my patrons said that ass is a permissible word because it's in the King James Version, and I guess I have to agree with that. Tullian goes on to say, that kind of grotesque certainty says way more about the sickness of your theology than it does about Ozzy's soul. It's not just bad doctrine, it's spiritual narcissism dressed up as discernment, a tragic misunderstanding of grace. You should be ashamed of yourself. Wow. So right away, you can just see here that, how many pastors are going to take to Facebook to defend Ozzy Osbourne? Ozzy was more honest about his demons than most church folks are about what's hiding in their prayer closets. He never faked it, never played the part. He was raw, vulnerable, loud, wild, and always real. He wore his brokenness on the outside, and in doing so, made space for grace. Frankly, I have zero doubt Jesus would have been stoked to hang with Ozzy. Jesus and Ozzy. Just like he did with Zacchaeus, the Samaritan woman, and every other spiritual misfit the moral police couldn't stand. This is true. Jesus has always preferred the broken over the buttoned up, the company of the messy over the moralizers. So, in honor of a man who wore his humanness on his sleeve, and in doing so, reminded the rest of us that we're all a cocktail of contradictions. Remember, I told everybody during my tribute to Ozzy that Eric Clapton, who I have a bit of a relationship with, I said to Eric, so I noticed you worked on the Ozzy album, the last one. I think that's kind of a weird combination, Ozzy and Eric Clapton. And he sent me a message back. He said, "Dave, he's just a really nice guy." That's what he said. So I think that's kind of cool. Anyway, he gives his top 10. Now again, Tullian Tchividjian gives you his top 10 Ozzy Osbourne songs. You won't hear this too often from a church leader, all right? Or even just a regular church pastor. It's a good list. Shot in the Dark, Bark at the Moon, Mama, I'm Coming Home, Crazy Train, Flying High Again, I Don't Know, No More Tears, Diary of a Madman, The Ultimate Sin, and Over the Mountain. You Can't Kill Rock and Roll is like my favorite, which isn't on this list. That song, the guitar playing on that, and the whole vibe of it, that's my favorite. One of my favorites. I don't know. It's tough. I did see Ozzy when he was on this tour, The Ultimate Sin, and two songs on the list, The Ultimate Sin and Shot in the Dark. It's that Ron Nevison stuff I really like. Some cool pictures of Ozzy. So what's interesting about Tullian, and I'm going to put a link to the sanctuary, and you can watch these sermons because they're just mind-blowing, mind-bending. You'll want to listen to them more than once. This guy, number one, this guy has no idea how different he is, both with what he's saying and how he's saying it. Number two, he does not look like your frumpy old pastor. All right. And no offense to frumpy old guys, because I'm on my way to frumpy old guy status. No, just his demeanor, his posture, his gait, if that's a thing. It's very lively, and he's like beaming energy at you. I'm not saying, he's carrying high dosages of the Holy Spirit and giving them out to people. That would be more of the charismatic crew and what they're up to. Maybe a blessed prayer shawl or something. I don't know. But no, this guy just has energy. He's real. He says stuff that you listen to it and you go, he's right. Stuff about your own sin. One of the things he talks about a lot is just our denial of how bad we are. Just denying that and thinking that we can fix it and that we can recover from it. And the only way you recover is through grace. You're not recovering on your own strength. You're not going to do much in the way of behavior modification. I love how he talks about that stuff. And it's just admitting that you can't do this. And so this is why Jesus came, and this is why it's finished. There's nothing more. It's like you can't do anything to improve the salvation that you already have. You can't earn it. You can't cooperate with it. There are things that just there's nothing you can do. And the only way you get better is to realize that and to live in that grace. At one point, he quoted this theologian whose name is going to be impossible, a Lutheran theologian. That's all I remember. And the Lutheran theologian said, your sanctification is living in your justification and understanding your justification. And I'm pretty sure I butchered that, and it's smoother than that. But recognizing your justification throughout your life, like living in that, realizing that, repeating it over and over to yourself, is how your sanctification works. I mean, we hear a lot about, oh, you're sanctified. You're going to get more sanctified as time goes on. The only way you're going to get sanctified is understand that work has been done and understanding your justification. And that to me was just like one of the most mind-blowing things I've ever heard in my life. And I still have to listen to that and rethink it, reread it, and try to understand that there's nothing that I can do. And that's what is different about Tullian Tchividjian. Now, again, people are going to say, well, he's disqualified. He shouldn't be a pastor anymore. That's debatable. That's really debatable. People in Christianity for years have continued on after having difficulties in their own lives. And, if thinking is as bad as doing, which Jesus essentially says it is, because nobody can follow this law to a T, then everybody is guilty of huge moral failure. And thus, we're all disqualified from preaching and teaching and talking about this stuff. So, in any event, again, I'll show you this book, which I think the title says it all. Jesus plus nothing equals everything. And this incorporates, if you want all the salacious details of what happened with Tullian, then Carnage and Grace, both of these books are on Amazon. What was weird is I was actually praying to get more books by Tullian, and I went to a thrift store, and this was sitting there. And I guarantee you this book was there because someone said, oh, can't have that in my collection anymore after his moral failure. He's a horrible example of a human being. Yeah. We're all horrible examples of human beings. That's the whole point. That's why Jesus had to come. The rescue plan. Hello, grace. It's not of works. It's nothing you can do to fix this. And realizing that is what your justification is, and also what your sanctification is. You're justified and you're sanctified through that justification. All right. I did a lousy job trying to explain that. So just want to be clear. And for those of you who don't understand sort of my faith journey and wrestling with certain things every day I wrestle with this stuff. My first name should have been Jacob, but I like Dave better. So we'll just stick with Dave. All right, folks. God bless. Go check out Tullian. Go check him out. I'd rather recommend Tullian than a new album right now. I mean, there are lots of new albums I could recommend. I gave you some books, and I'm going to give you the link to the Sanctuary, and you got to listen to these podcasts. It's also on Spotify. It's the Sanctuary Jupiter, which is Jupiter, Florida. He's on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. If I were on the East Coast, I would be going to his church. Anytime the doors of that church open up, I'd be there. So unless, of course, he wants me to clean, in which case I might even do that. All right. God bless. Tullian, you rock. And great post about Ozzy. I'll see you soon.